Good day, everybody. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos. I'm back in the car today because it's like 18 degrees out right now, my car says. So 18 degrees Celsius for you Americans. That's what is that, about let's see, 36 and another 30, about 66, maybe even closer to 70. Yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's nice out today after a long crappy winter. It feels like spring is just around the corner, and so I decided to take the dogs to the park for a quick run in the mud and ice. It's still icy. It's very strange. So you're walking on ice, and right around the ice it's just big mud puddles everywhere. But we had fun, and making this video to talk about today's session. So I've got a gaming session today with my online group. That would be Mr. Irving Twin, Mr. Pox Toxic, CMAC, and now Nano Reaper, another person I know from YouTube, has joined in the campaign. We're doing Shadow Dark. This is the second adventure. Now, I haven't broadcast the adventure, but we did record it, and I still have to edit out. There's a lot of like stuff I could probably cut, but I've been kind of lazy on editing. So we're gonna record this one again today. Maybe when I get a few in the can, then I'll post them. But I want to talk about running by the seat of your pants. And I have a friend who's something of a writer. And I guess there's two different types of writers. There's the writers who, they plot everything out. They're called plotters. They plot everything out. They make notes on, what's going to happen in every chapter. And then there's pantsers, like me. When I write, and I'm not talking about adventures, but when I write anything, it's just flying by the seat of my pants. So today's adventure is going to be one of those. I have a map. I have an idea for what's taking place in that map, but I haven't thought of anything else. So, yeah, I might have to try and find a second map because I think at one point they're going to be exploring somewhere else adjacent to this map. And we're going to be running in Owlbear Rodeo. I love Owlbear Rodeo. I just think it's so much better than Roll20. I just think it's so much more intuitive, so much easier to use. So that's the plan. But yeah, running by the seat of your pants. How do you do it? If you're one of those people who likes to plot out everything, you may be stymied or kind of like offended by DMs and GMs who don't have everything written down. Well, I'm a big fan of Sly Flourish philosophy of the lazy DM. I think that's Sly Flourish, yeah. I don't plan at all. I might have a vague idea of what they're going to encounter, but I don't write anything down. And I also am not of the mind of tracking each individual hit point. And I think my players have probably glommed on or realized this. I shouldn't say glommed on. That's the wrong term. They've probably cottoned on to this. How about that? Basically, I do it like a foe will have a number of hits, basically. And if they're a boss, they're gonna have more hits, obviously, than just a minion. A minion you could probably take out in one hit. Like a goblin or whatever. If you land a solid hit and do a decent amount of damage on your damage roll, boom, he's dead. If you roll a 1 on your damage, he's still up. That's to say, a 1 or a 2, he's still up. That's typically the case for every minion. Now, because it's Shadow Dark, there aren't a pile of damage bonuses that are happening. Shadow Dark doesn't add your strength bonus to damage; it only adds it to attacks. Which, some people kind of say that doesn't make any sense, but I understand it. The idea is to make it so that the players don't become too overpowered too quickly, and I appreciate that mindset. But yeah, I don't really typically go, oh, he's got 14 hit points. Oh, you did 3. Okay, that leaves him with 11. I don't do all that math. I look at the monster they're facing. If it's a group of like low-level bad guys, they're all going to go down in 1 or 2 hits. A lieutenant, 2 or 3 hits, and a boss is going to be 5 to 6 hits. And if they get a critical damage, like roll a critical hit, that accounts for 2 hits, essentially. Now, if it's a big bad evil boss, like, you know, the campaign ender boss, the guy who they've been hunting for, you know, 20 sessions, and now they finally come up against him and he's supposed to be this big awesome threat, then I might go into, okay, he's got 120 hit points and I'm going to count every little hit point. But not always. Sometimes I'll just go, you know what, I'll keep it in my head. 9 or 10 good solid hits. Natural 1, obviously that's a miss. Rolling really low on your damage die, that's, you know, counts as maybe half a hit. But yeah, and you know, like a lot of people will say, well, that's, you know, you're cheating, you're fudging. I'm like, the whole game is fudging. The entire game is fudging. So I don't have a problem with that. Remember, we're playing this game in our imagination. The GM there is to facilitate the adventure. He's not there as an opponent to the players. He's not there to keep track of every bit of rules minutia. I really don't like referring to the book to find out exactly how a spell works. I got a vague idea of it. I put it upon my players to advise me, how much damage does this spell do, you know, like, or what's the effects of this spell? And they should know. It's their character, right? It's their spell. Their character has prepared that spell. They should know how it works. And I take them at their word when this says, oh, it does, you know, 2d6 damage or whatever. And if we find out later that it's wrong, so be it. Okay, well, we're not going to go back and retcon it. It's, okay, so next time you must have had a surge of magical power, and when you did your 2d6, turns out it's only a 1d6. Okay, so what? This time, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem as powerful. Maybe you just got a beginner's luck that time, or maybe you happen to tap into the weave exceptionally well, or whatever world building you use to describe magic in your game. I don't think I'm new to this. This isn't anything that I've invented. This is all coming straight out of other GMs that I've played with, that I've watched online, that I've seen talk about online. But this is the way to do it. If you want to get enjoyment out of GMing, and let's face it, it's a lot of work to GM, I advise doing it this way. Unless, you know, your whole thing is getting down into the weeds with, you know, tactics and you know, special powers and special things. For me, getting into the weeds is coming up with ingenious puzzles and traps and things like that. But for combat to me can be very, very boring. It should be a tense moment, but it shouldn't be, oh, my voice cracked there like a teenager. It shouldn't be something where you're digging into the gritty details of it. The gritty details come in your description of, you know, the decapitation. That's where you get into the gritty details of combat. So for me, keep it fast, keep it loose, and remember, keep the game moving. It's kind of why I went for a very rules light approach when I was writing 4-color concepts. I want the action to keep moving. I want it to have the pace of a comic book. Now, in some parts of a comic book, there might be just 2 pages of dialogue between 2 characters. That's fine, because there's going to be role-playing aspects in this, even in a superhero game. But when it comes to combat, when it comes to, you know, using your powers, boom, make it quick. This is what it does. Bang. You know, I'm still on board, or still on track, I think, to publish 4-color concepts, get it in a printable format, get it available on DriveThruRPG for digital download by end of this year. 2026 is going to be the year that it finally makes print. I'm working on the layout right now. Rules are already written, but I got to do the art. And I was going to hire artists. I was thinking about incorporating AI art, but because I'll tell you, AI art is pretty good at doing superhero stuff. But I've decided against that. Instead, I want to do all the art myself, for better or worse. We'll see what happens. But you know, there's something to be said for, you know, picking up a book that says a game by one name, and then on the inside cover says art, layout, words by one name. You know, people, I think that might have a bit of a selling factor, that, you know, what's in this book is all by one guy. Maybe it's a bit of an ego rub for myself too, but you know, it's, I guess it's like an author's. When an author writes a book and they get a book out there, hi sweetheart, when they get their book out there, there's a sense of pride knowing that everything in there is theirs, you know, apart from maybe they hire someone to do the cover or whatever. But But yeah, sense of accomplishment or satisfaction comes from being the one responsible for your creation, you know, cover to cover. And that's what I'm sort of aiming for with 4Color Concepts. Once 4Color Concepts is done, it gets a solid reception. Don't you start barking, dog. She's gonna start barking. If it gets some traction, gets some warm reception, I'll move on to do Elf Camino. And Nano, or not Nano, maybe Nano knows, Pox and Irving know all about Elf Camino. I ran them through an adventure of Elf Camino. They seem to like it. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. But anyway, just about at home. Just wanted to lay that out. Since this is now a gaming channel where we don't talk politics, we're talking gaming now. I thought I'd lay that out because it's a nice day. And I happen to be in the car for about 10-12 minutes coming back from the park. You all take care. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. If you're in an area that's finally got some mild weather, get out there and enjoy it. And talk to you all real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.